Coming up next on the Commissioner's Report, we're going to be speaking with Commissioner Bell about arts and culture here in Polk County. Stay tuned for the Commissioner's Report, which is coming up right now. You're watching the Commissioner's Report. I'm your host, Kevin Watler, and today we're going to be talking to Melony Bell.
Hi there.
Hello, Commissioner Bell.
Hi there. Glad to be here.
So arts and culture is the topic for today, and we have Mayor Dantzler with us, joining us today as well.
Hello, good to be here.
And we also have Meri as well.
Thank you for having me here today.
So Commissioner Bell, why arts and culture?
Well, as you know, I've spotlighted each city in my district, and every time we've spotlighted our municipalities, it has something to do with the arts. And I thought it'd be very important today to let's bring it all together, what we've done with the arts here in the county through the Polk Arts Alliance with Meri and her staff, and then most importantly with Mayor Dantzler and the city of Winter Haven, because they have been on the cutting edge in the last 2 years. If you've been reading the paper or anything about Winter Haven and how they're bringing their downtown alive with the arts, I thought it'd be very important to bring this together now of what the Polk County Tourism Sports Marketing through the Tourist Development Council has done with our funding.
And Mayor Dantzler, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself first? I believe you have a brother here as well that you might want to talk about.
Yes, I have two older brothers actually. One is Rick Dantzler, and he was served in the legislature here in Polk County for numerous years, and of course Todd Dantzler works with Commissioner Bell, and so that's my oldest brother. But yeah, we when I was elected onto the city commission at Winter Haven, one of the first initiatives that we started down there was to try to revitalize the arts in Winter Haven for a lot of reasons. Number one, it just helps with the overall quality of life in Winter Haven, but also makes good business, which we're going to talk about later about how it does that. But that's the point. So. Anyway.
And Ms. Mass, what is your involvement with arts and culture?
I am the executive director of the Polk Arts Alliance, which is the county's designated local arts agency. Most counties, 64 of them actually in the state of Florida, have a local arts agency. And we advocate on behalf of all the nonprofit arts organizations as well as the creative industries, both in our counties within each municipality, but also with the Division of Cultural Affairs in Tallahassee.
So what are some of the things that you had good progress in overall?
Oh, well, we're very excited about and I never stop talking about it, led by Commissioner Bell 4 years ago, we advocated to get some tourism dollars to support funding the arts for marketing the county. One of the things that was very frustrating about our agency was wherever we went, everybody said, Polk County, there's nothing going on there. And when you take a look at the over 42 organizations that promote arts in our 17 municipalities, there's over 1,000 events a year going on just in the arts in our communities.
That's quite a bit.
So we thought, why not let the rest of the world know? And the only way to do that is market it. So with the support of the commissioners and the city officials, we were able to lobby and actually get support for 2% of the bed tax funding to support the arts. And so over 4 years it has really increased the marketing efforts on behalf of all the arts organizations. And when I go to, for instance, I'm also part of Americans for the Arts in Washington. Now all of a sudden they're saying, oh my gosh, what you have going on there is really amazing, and that's because we've been able to market it. So thank you to the commissioners, both the mayor and the county commissioners. And
Mayor, tell me some of your involvement with it as well.
Well, in Winter Haven, we've had a lot of neat things that have been going on. We've started, one of the first things we did with the new Arts Council, we formed an Arts Council, the City Commission did. One of our first projects was the Little Free Libraries, and everybody's familiar with that. They've seen them around. But what we did is we brought in local artists to come in and actually paint them, make them look cool. We got local woodworkers to build them so they look a little bit different. Local artists to come in and paint them and decorate them. And we put them on a map, so there's actually a map you can see and go down and see where the Little Free Libraries are. The Winter Haven Library actually supports them and keeps them full of books, and that's one. We named a poet laureate, Winter Haven's the only city in Polk County that has a poet laureate, a man named John Davis. Wonderful poet, writes poetry for ribbon cuttings and special events. We had one down for 4th of July, and he'll come to city commission meetings and read poems that he's written. He's a published author and does that. We're now in the middle of we're painting all of our power boxes downtown that are owned by the city. The city owns a lot of power boxes, and so we have a whole bunch of local artists, and you give them a blank canvas and something kind of cool and creative, and what they're doing down there is amazing. You know, they're going and painting these things, and you drive around town, all of a sudden you see them, they stand out, and that's something that's been orchestrated through the Arts Council. Things like there's murals that are painted and all over downtown as you drive around. That's a project of the 610 Corporation. As you go around, you'll see on the side of churches and side of buildings big blank canvases that have become murals. Those are neat things that are going on, and there's some, a few other things, but that's sort of been the first year and a half, couple years of our arts initiative right now. So.
And Commissioner Bell, between you and your colleagues, what are some of the things that you are doing to assist? I know she mentioned a bed tax was one of the things.
Well, as a county commissioner, we're always about economic drivers. What is going to bring people here? How are we going to keep professionals here in the county? And it's all about the arts. You may not think, well, I'm not a museum hugger, I'm not a visual arts hugger, but we all have something in our life that draws us to the arts. I don't care. Last night I went over to Tampa to see a performing arts. The Wizard of Oz was playing. It was amazing, the people that go to those shows that want to dine in restaurants, buy gas. So it's an economic driver, and what it's doing here in Polk County has been overwhelming. We started out about $450,000 from the tourist development money, which is heads and beds. If you stay in a hotel here in the county, you pay 5 cents on the dollar. It was generated about $450,000. Now we're up to about $800,000 that's going into the arts, to market the arts. We're giving money out to all types of festivals here in the county to market their festival or their organization, what they're having, maybe an art show for the Polk Museum of Art, or Davenport just had, their orange label. There's things going on throughout the county that's economic drivers. It's bringing people in from out of the county, bringing them here. So as a commissioner, it's all about economic development, what we can do for the county. So now we've seen the fruits of our labor. We're putting so much money into just marketing, and now we're taking in, which Commissioner Dantzler serves on the Tourist Development Board with me. We just went through a retreat of a kind of a brainstorming. What are we going to do now that we have this money? How are we going to use it to market Polk County? We have 4 projects going on. We have the Lakeland Center, Fort Meade Equestrian Center, Lake Myrtle, and now back to Winter Haven with their chain of lakes, bringing that up to par. And it's all about the arts, what we're doing in Winter Haven. And I'll let Commissioner explain what we're doing in Winter Haven.
Well, Mayor Dantzler.
Yes, Mayor Dantzler.
I'm going to say,
it's so
I
difficult.
told him to make sure he said mayor.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's so difficult with the Dantzlers. I mean,
I
you guys are a popular name here in Polk County.
Yeah. Well, I'm by far the smartest. Just let's just make sure that's clear.
I'll make sure Commissioner Dantzler knows that.
But yeah, Commissioner Bell talked about the TDC and what we're doing. It's the Chain of Lakes site. It's the old site where spring training was held for 45 years for the Red Sox, and then of course the Cleveland Indians. That's the site we're talking about. The county has stepped up and has committed a large source of money for Winter Haven to redevelop that site through for a lot of different things, but arts are going to be a big part of it. We're going to have a new convention center there. And as part of that, there will be renovations to the Theater of Winter Haven. The Southwest Complex is going to get renovated, and once we have a new building that we can have basketball and whatnot, we can use our existing basketball gym. That will now become a black box, which will be used for multiple art venues and either visual or whatever it may be. We'll be able to use that space, which is now currently a basketball gym, and turn that into a black box. So the arts are going to be a big part of it. We're getting ready to build a new tennis facility in the middle of downtown. with an emphasis on the building's going to have to be artistic. It's not going to be just a square box. It's going to have to be a nice building that's going to be consistent with what we're trying to do downtown. So the arts it just makes really good business if you think about it and you're trying to recruit a business from Topeka, Kansas, and they come down and they're looking. Of course, they want to know about the schools and they want to know about what kind of jobs and the workforce, but they also want to know what can we do on the weekends and what can we see that's nice and different. And that's why arts community, or the arts initiative, makes such good sense for Polk County and also for Winter Haven, and having people like Meri here to constantly spearhead these things all over the county, and having a commissioner like Commissioner Bell who gets it and understands, and it's not just, it's not just something for just pretty stuff. It's good business. It makes good business to have this, because so many people want other just a place to work. They want to have stuff to do on the weekends and at night. So that's what we're trying to do in Winter Haven, and they're trying to do all around the county. So,
and say someone wants to try to volunteer or get involved with some of the arts programs, how do they go about doing some of that? You
can go to our website, polkarts.org. Every arts organization is listed there with a direct link to those organizations, and they can become volunteers. All of the arts organizations love volunteers. That's how they actually function and grow. One of the things I wanted to say is it's about the economic impact of the arts. It's not that art is new to Polk County. Polk Museum of Art is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Theater Winter Haven is doing their 47th season, I believe, this year. Florida Dance has been invited for the third time. It's the only independent dance group that's been invited to the Battery Park Dance Festival in New York City, so they'll be representing Polk County. And Explorations 5 today actually received a declaration from the city of Lakeland on their 25th anniversary. So arts is alive and well here. It's just a matter of marketing and promotion.
Okay, and we're running short on time now, so I'll leave you with your share of the final thoughts for this portion of the show.
Well, I'm just thrilled that we have the support of the county commissioners and our city municipalities, because in any area, you take a look at Detroit or Cleveland, what's happened there in the past and what's currently going on, it's all about the creative industries and the arts that's really had a resurrection in those communities, because corporations and their families want the culture and the arts to be a advantage to moving to a location. So it makes great business sense.
And Mayor Dantzler?
Yeah, I would just tell people that there's so many things that are going on, and if people want to come down and get involved, our Cultural Arts Council, our chairman is a person named Tina Clark. She runs it. These are open meetings. People can come down. We're right now in the middle of going through an initiative for sculptures downtown. We would love to have public input because we don't have all the answers. We've got a really nice key site that we want to have a real nice public sculptor. So we need ideas. We're talking now about painting all the bridges on the chain of lakes with murals and whatnot. And we need help with that. Anybody that's artistically inclined. We've got blank canvases on the chain of lakes. And I go back to the little free libraries. I told you we did 6 of those. The city did 6 of them, but PEP, which is led by Nat West and Doug, they did a little free library in every school in Winter Haven, every elementary school. So if anybody wants to do a little free library, we've got information in our Winter Haven library. There's only $300. That sponsors one and gets one built. So if you want to put one in front of your business or in front of your home, we can tell you how to do it. So that's how you can get involved.
Perfect. And Commissioner Bell?
Well, I'm just excited to be here, and like I said, where we started, where we're at now has just been phenomenal. The arts, the money that we've been able to put in it, the synergy that's been built with the whole county. There's not a division anymore to me. It's the whole county's on board. We have all the municipalities, 17 here, along with the county commission that's spearheading this, under the direction of Mark Jackson, under the Tourist Development Council. So it's just been really neat to watch this. Like I said, the fruits of our labor all come back, and if you want to get involved, please contact my office. We have a council, the Arts and Cultural council that we'd be glad to have you if we're looking for new members. We just went through a process of the grants. We'll be gearing back up again in September, October. So if you're an organization and you're going to have some type of activity that's coming about and you want to apply for a grant that will bring in tourism, you can go through Meri's office or our office to obtain the application. But Meri will sit down with these organizations and help them with their grant writing. So we're actually, our hands are out saying, please come, that we want to help and we want to give you money to promote Polk County.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us for this part of the Commissioner's Report. Stay tuned, we have more coming up right after this.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. Many of the future doctors who will care for us, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country, can be your kids. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play more. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
It doesn't get any more exciting than a Friday night at Bartow Memorial Stadium. At Bartow, fans in the stands isn't dependent upon success on the field.
If you go to a baseball game, it's packed. It's just the way the Bartow folks support athletics and support the school, support Bartow High School.
It's a connection that runs throughout Bartow for many generations.
A lot of multiple generations do live here. I'm the 4th generation in my family to live here, and one of our 3 children lives in Bartow.
And the common thread for so many, Bartow High School.
As we called it in 1958, Summerlin Institute. Jacob Summerlin was a wealthy cattleman during the Civil War, and although he didn't live in Bartow all that long, he obviously took a liking to the place.
He donated 120 acres of land to Polk County to establish a county seat, land to build a courthouse, a school, and 2 churches. When this building was built, there was an outcry of the citizens saying, we'll never outgrow this building.
The old Polk County Courthouse, now known as the History Center, housed all of county government.
In 1926, there were 2 wings added to the building to give an opportunity for expansion. We still grew and grew.
A real treasure to Polk County. The building has been restored, extensively restored, both inside and outside, and is now used, as you well know, as the Polk County History Center.
S.L. Frisbee is such a great friend of ours. He serves on the Polk County Historical Commission, the Polk County Historical Association, and he also is a historian.
His own history has deep roots in the family newspaper business.
The Polk County Democrat was started by my grandfather and my great-grandfather in 1928 and was passed down through the years to my father and his brother Richard, my father Loyal, and then to me.
When S.L.'s children weren't interested in continuing the paper, it was sold, ending a family tradition that lasted 75 years through 4 generations. But through the years, the family business isn't the only thing S.L. has seen change.
When I was a child, the entire merchant community was on Main Street and just within a block off of Main Street. Companies have dug all the ore out of the ground in Polk County and have moved to the south. Citrus and cattle are both now competing with development interests for use of the property. And so now the biggest industry in Bartow is county government. Chances are very good if you walk down the street or go out to dinner, you will find not one but several people who you know, and in all likelihood people you've known all your life. And I've heard time and again people say, there's something about Bartow that gets in your blood.
Even though there are a number of new homes being built on the north side of Bartow, SL says he isn't anticipating major changes.
I've often heard people say that, say critically, oh, people in Bartow don't want to grow. And my response to that is no, people in Bartow don't want to see Bartow change. And so more people, yes. Losing that cultural friendliness, no.
Fort Meade is located near the Peace River in the southwest corner of Polk County. It's a quiet town with nearly 6,000 residents. Lita Wright has lived in Fort Meade all her life. She raised her family here. Now she's raising awareness of her city's past.
And the Talakashakpo Indians were here, and they lived in their village on the banks of Peace River. And that's where Chief Osceola was.
And Bowlegs Creek, a little south of the city, is named for Chief Billy Bowlegs.
So we had 2 Indian chiefs right here way before Fort Meade ever got started.
The city was settled in 1849 near the banks of the Peace River and named after Lieutenant George Meade, who crossed the river at nearly the same location where the bridge on US 98 is located today. But things changed in the 1880s when the railroad came to Fort Meade.
So they built the depot there for people to travel on the train. People used a trolley car from Old Town down at the river to get to the train up here in Newtown. Then Fort Meade downtown moved from the river about 1 mile west.
Many of the original buildings built in the business district are still in use today. And Fort Meade has more than 300 homes listed on the National Register of Historic Places. But it was a discovery in the late 1800s that put Fort Meade on the map: phosphate.
Now today we have very few of the companies left, and one of the main companies today is Mosaic.
Today, students at the high school are still known as the miners.
I graduated from Fort Meade High School, and we had a good football team back then.
Sports have always been important in this area, and now native son Andrew McCutcheon is expanding Fort Meade's spotlight.
How they look upon Andrew, they look upon him as a hometown hero, someone that helped put Fort Meade on a national map.
While Andrew has moved on to the major leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates, his parents have remained in Fort Meade.
I saw really no need to leave. I like the feeling of home, community support. We have a lot of great businesses and a lot of good ministries here in our city where we all work together.
Patrina has a lot of memories watching her son on this field, including a time when the eyes of baseball were on Fort Meade.
There were about 28 scouts from, the major league here to see Andrew McCutcheon. In fact, we thought that there were more scouts here than there were fans. It never gets old because it just is a reminder of how blessed we are.
In Fort Meade, it's a feeling of community where everyone is family.
Born and raised in Eagle Lake in 1933. I attended this school here right behind me for 9 years, and later went to Winter High School. But I was born and delivered by a midwife. This school meant a lot to all of us, and we really fought to keep it intact like it is now.
Granny went to school here. You and Mom both went to school here. I went to school here for a short period of time, but it's no longer an educational building. We just use it as a community building.
At this school, I got my rear end tore up. My first grade teacher called a second grade teacher in, and I had a problem of talking, and I can't hardly talk now, but I had a problem talking then.
I was wondering where I got that from. My grandfather was the public works director. He was our only police officer for many years. He had many hats that he wore. When did he start working with the city?
He retired in 1972.
So he was in the early to mid 50s is when he started.
Early 50s, yes.
Dad and I have shared stories in the past. Him coming from a large family, of my grandmother sending him and his younger brother down to Lake McCloud to catch their breakfast. They would be in Lake McCloud for 30 to 45 minutes, catch enough fish to bring back to the house, and Granny was either making biscuits or hoe cake?
It was biscuits most of the time, and coffee. She always fed coffee and sweet and made biscuits every morning. Eagle Lake has been a place that I've traveled all over the country, and this has been the place I wanted to come back to and stay, and we've enjoyed the residents.
When you enter Mulberry, the welcome signs are warm and friendly, saying where the past feeds the future. The signs could also say, "Welcome to Bone Valley." They don't. So the Mulberry Phosphate Museum takes care of that.
This is a restored 1930s train depot, is what houses our fossil gallery. Our other two galleries are in restored train cars. Trains are a really big part of the history of phosphate, and we kind of like working in that world.
And in that world of trains and phosphate, Mulberry has long been in the middle of it all.
We had experienced in this area somewhat of a gold rush, only it was for phosphate and people trying to get rich, finding the precious commodity that was phosphate, and they lived in towns built around companies, and Mulberry was right here in the center.
The discovery of phosphate resulted in an unexpected find: fossils.
So what we have established here is a collection of Ice Age land mammals, which are the guys behind me. There's a mastodon and a giant ground sloth. Then we also have prehistoric marine life from when Florida was completely underwater, 10 million years and older. So we've established a really cool history reaching back millions of years, not just in the recent past. It's a really cool experience to explain how phosphate not only is feeding us as a country now, but has had a cool history going back millions of years.
Mulberry's more recent past is also exciting and feeding a new generation. You won't find fossils at Carol's Cafe, just good food, a great atmosphere, and another important piece of city history.
I've been told that it's the oldest standing building in Mulberry. I could be wrong, that's what I was told. It was built in 1908.
Carol and her husband Jeff have owned and operated Carol's Cafe for the past 11 years. Yet another chapter in the economic history of the downtown area.
What this place has been, it's been a post office many years ago, it was a bank, it's been a bakery for many years. A gentleman was in yesterday, he said that he used to come here when it was a post office, and I asked him when that might have been, around, and he said it was in 1959.
I think our past is really what keeps us unique. We're Bone Valley. Not a lot of people get to say that. And we're based on phosphate and growth and industry. So I think we're taking that identity and taking it into this new millennium and going forward, keeping the small town charm while really embracing what we have to offer that no one else does.
I don't want it to get so busy that I don't remember people's names when they come in. I like that part about, there's very few people's names that I do not remember or know.
And the history of Mulberry's name is also a subject not everybody remembers, at least not completely.
Mulberry Tree, which was close to the train station and actually near the train tracks, was where the mail was dropped off in a giant sack as they went by. And how they knew where to drop it was said at the Mulberry Tree. Well, eventually that just turned into at Mulberry. So in 1901, we adopted the name.
Though that first mulberry tree is now long gone, the city continues to grow, planning for the future, while keeping an eye on its extensive past.